was motivated by love of the white race.
A man so consumed with hatred for blacks that killing them was too good for them.
Joseph Paul Franklin. Born James Clayton Vaughn, Jr. on April 13, 1950 in Mobile, Alabama, Franklin would later adopt the name of his role model, Benjamin Franklin, as a symbol of his white supremacist beliefs. Raised in a tumultuous household marked by abuse and instability, Franklin's early years were marred by violence and racial hatred. As he came of age, he gravitated towards extremist ideologies, finding solace and purpose in the teachings of hate groups and neo-Nazi organizations. Disappointed by what he saw as a watered-down version of white supremacy, Franklin distanced himself from these organizations and set out on a path of violent extremism.
They were weren't doing anything, you know. Most of them were into talking. That's the average Klansman and average Nazi, you know, they're all talk, and that's it. I was into action.
From vandalizing properties to armed robberies and planting bombs, Franklin's actions left a trail of devastation in his wake. August 7, 1977 marked a turning point in the life of Franklin and the beginning of a reign of terror that would grip the nation for years to come. On that fateful day, Franklin targeted a young interracial couple in a parking lot at Easttown Mall in Madison, Wisconsin. Frustrated by Alphonse Manning Jr.'s slow driving, Franklin's anger boiled over as he honked his horn impatiently. Manning, unaware of the danger, approached Franklin's car. Franklin grabbed a revolver from the passenger seat and fired, killing Manning instantly. Realizing he had been witnessed by Tony Schwen, Franklin's cold-blooded resolve intensified. He approached the car and, without hesitation, shot her execution style. For Franklin, this murder was just the beginning of a chilling crime spree that would span across America and claim numerous innocent lives. Just 1 month later, on October 8, 1977, Franklin committed another hideous act of violence, this time against the Jewish community. Franklin set his sights on the Brith Shalom Knesset Israel synagogue. Concealed in the dense foliage across from the synagogue, Franklin lay in wait for over 2 hours, his hatred simmering beneath the surface. Finally, as the congregation exited the synagogue, Franklin seized his opportunity. With deadly precision, he opened fire on the unsuspecting worshippers, the echoes of gunfire shattering the serenity of the morning. In mere moments, lives were forever altered. Gerald Gordon, a devoted member of the congregation, fell victim to Franklin's senseless violence, and 2 others were substantially injured. The attack sent shockwaves through the Jewish community and beyond, leaving scars that would never fully heal. As Franklin's reign of terror continued, his targets became increasingly prominent. No one was safe from his twisted agenda, not even those in the public eye. On March 6, 1978, Franklin set his sights on Larry Flynt, the controversial publisher of Hustler magazine. Flynt's Hustler magazine had caught Franklin's attention, not for its championing of freedom of expression, but for what Franklin saw as an affront to his twisted beliefs. The magazine's willingness to push boundaries, including featuring interracial content, enraged Franklin, driving him to seek vengeance. Armed with a Ruger .44 caliber semi-automatic rifle, Franklin meticulously planned his attack. As Flynt and his lawyer Gene Reeves emerged from the courthouse that fateful day, they had no idea they were walking into Franklin's crosshairs. What followed would be a harrowing ordeal that would leave both men fighting for their lives and the nation reeling from yet another senseless act of violence. By May 29, 1980, Franklin's relentless campaign of hate had claimed numerous innocent lives, leaving communities shattered and law enforcement agencies scrambling to apprehend him. Amidst the chaos of his killing spree, one name would become synonymous with both his brutality and the resilience of those who dared to defy him. That name was Vernon Jordan, a prominent civil rights activist and president of the Urban League. Franklin's path would intersect with Jordan's in Fort Wayne, Indiana, in an encounter that would leave Jordan fighting for his life. In a calculated act of hate, he targeted Jordan, firing shots that would leave the esteemed activist gravely wounded. The attack on Vernon Jordan was a stark reminder to the public of the persistent threat of racial violence that still loomed large in American society. Franklin carried on his killing spree, hunting anyone and everyone for reasons only he deemed fit. His final and also most heartless attack came on August 20th, 1980. Franklin targeted two innocent black youths, Ted Fields and David Martin. Fields and Martin, just 20 and 18 years old respectively, were out with two white girls when they came to Franklin's attention. Not liking what he saw, Franklin decided to let off 5 shots, solely aiming for Fields and Martin. The two young men, caught off guard by the sudden attack, stood no chance against Franklin's hate-fueled assault. Their companions, terrified and helpless, witnessed the tragic events unfold before their eyes. Emergency responders rushed to the scene, but it was too late. Fields and Martin, full of promise and potential, lay lifeless on the ground, their futures stolen by Franklin. Following the murders in Utah, Franklin embarked on a journey through the Midwestern U.S. His travels led him through Kentucky, where he was detained and questioned regarding a firearm found in his car. Franklin fled from this interrogation, but authorities recovered sufficient evidence from his vehicle to potentially link him to the sniper killings. His conspicuous racist tattoos and habit of visiting blood banks prompted investigators to issue a nationwide alert to blood banks. In October 1980, a Florida blood bank worker recognized Franklin's tattoos, leading to his arrest in Lakeland on October 28, 1980. Franklin faced legal action across the U.S. for the next 2 decades, eventually being convicted of multiple murders, attacks, and other crimes at both the state and federal levels. Despite attempts to evade justice, including an unsuccessful escape during his 1997 Missouri trial, Franklin was ultimately convicted and sentenced to life in prison, with some states imposing the death penalty. Following years of legal battles and appeals, Franklin's execution was finally scheduled to take place. However, it was not without controversy. The European Union export ban on lethal injection drugs affected the execution process. In response, Missouri announced a new method of lethal injection for Franklin's execution, utilizing a single drug provided by an unnamed compounding pharmacy. Despite the initial stays, appeals courts overturned them, and the Supreme Court rejected Franklin's final appeals. In an interview with the St. Louis Post-Dispatch, Franklin renounced his racist views, attributing them to an abusive upbringing and expressing remorse for his actions. November 20, 2013, at the Eastern Reception Diagnostic and Correctional Center in Bonne Terre, Missouri, Joseph Paul Franklin was executed. The procedure began at 6:07 a.m., and he was pronounced dead at 6:17 a.m. The story of Joseph Paul Franklin is a chilling reminder of the depths of hatred and the devastating consequences of bigotry. Let us not only remember the lives lost, but also reaffirm our commitment to building a world free from fear and bigotry. For in the face of darkness, even the smallest light can illuminate the path to a brighter tomorrow.